So number 63 is a polarizing figure. Boston Bruins fans cherish his competitiveness, his fire. What started off as a disturber back in 2011, getting all kinds of frustration out of the Vancouver Canucks en route to the Stanley Cup for the Bees, the sixth in their franchise history. He's become elite. And on that special line that features the word perfection not being a stretch, Patrice Bergeron. And you think about what that club has been able to do and the consistency of Pastrnak and the two of them. Johnny, him at number 10. What do you think?
I love it. He's one of the best wingers in the game, and he's grown past that disturber role into just now he's one of the best two-way guys in the entire NHL. However the game's going to get played, fine with him. You need to score a lot. He can do that. It's defensive. He's one of the best defensive wingers in the league. If it's going to be chippy, we know he's still okay with that. He has got all the tools you need to be one of the very best. And the fact that he gets to play in every situation, right? Like, he's not just being carried by Bergeron and Pastrnak. We know he's one of the best defensive wingers, one of the best shorthanded players, shorthanded goal scorers in NHL history. Look at last few seasons, most shorthanded goals. Well, there he is at the very top of the list. And when you have that kind of skill, you're always a threat. We just saw some of the highlights. And some of his moves, some of his goals are such great individual efforts. You're not supposed to score goals where you kind of stick handle around guys, let guys slide out of the way. It's the NHL. This is not how it happens. But you watch him, and he is one of the best one-on-one guys in the league. So you put all this together, and just a fantastic player. He is a few years away from bordering Hall of Fame material. He's been that good as of late. Every situation, we talk about shorthanded, we talk about overtime. You name it, he is there. And the one thing I also like about him, we just showed one highlight, maybe the smoothest five-hole deker in the league. He loves it when he's on breakaways, and it's just so gorgeous. So anyway, it's a little thing I like about him. He always open him up and tuck it home. He's just a great, great player.
So I use the word polarizing because there's no doubt all the points you made are true. A great, great player. We'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge licking Ryan Callahan's face and some of the other transgressions. There's that part of Brad Marchand which makes him loathed elsewhere. How do you address it?
Well, I mean, I think when he was earlier in his career, this was part of him as a undersized, chip on his shoulder kind of player that I'm going to get noticed. And you think back to 2011, the Sedins and punching and all that stuff. And he has slowly kind of grown out of that. But that competitive fire, and that's where it's born out of. Now, it doesn't always translate into being applied in the right way. You mentioned some of the incidents that he would surely like to take back. But it's all about competitiveness, anything to win. And if you're a teammate, you love that. You don't want to see him get suspended, get in trouble for doing those kind of silly things. And he doesn't do those things with any kind of regularity anymore. But it's all about competitiveness, and it comes from, I think, an undersized guy who had to prove himself every step of the way.
This will disappoint a lot of people, but before Game 7, I had the privilege of interviewing him. He's a really nice,
don't tell anyone.
Guy.
Don't tell anyone.
And that disappoints so many people. So he's at number 10. Yeast mode for the bread man. Number 9. Boy, when you come to New York and you sign a big ticket, there's a lot of pressure. You know how much it affected this guy? Not at all. He produced. He missed 14 games this season. And those 14 games without him, the Rangers were 5-9-0. 22-14-6 with him. The obvious inclination is to make the interpretation they need themselves some Artemi Panarin. What makes him so valuable?
Well, not many wingers can drive offense and have their team's success run through them. No matter how great they are, they're often a function of the centerman. It's just the nature of the position. And Panarin has shown in Chicago and since he's been in New York that he is the exception to that norm where he makes it go on the wing. And he's just one of the most gifted offensive player in the league. And he does it with his brain and obviously his great skill, puck skills. But he's not the biggest, not the fastest, not the strongest, can't shoot the best, but he understands how to create and to get a sense of how important he is. So when he's on the ice, the Rangers plus 55. So they've scored 55 more then they've given up.
That's a lot.
When he's off the ice, they are a negative team. So it's not like he's playing on a stacked team and everybody's good. They're great when he's out there, and when he's not even close. So that tells you just how spectacular he is. Goal for percentage, however you want to look at it. When he's out there, very, very good. When he's not, they struggle. He has been so money in New York, great free agent signing, and continues to be a pleasure to watch.
He is truly must-see TV. That was Ken Danico saying, best defenseman for me in the National Hockey League. What does he know about D? Oh, he only played about 20 years, won 3 cups. This guy, Victor Hedman, has won 2 cups. That was a goal, by the way. He's special. So special that he's finished in the top 5 for the Norris, or rather the top 3, the last 5 years in a row. He's won that trophy once. But you talk to hockey people, and I'm going to turn to you, Mike Johnson, and ask, with all due respect to Adam Fox, this year's Norris winner, is Hedman the best D-man in the league?
Yeah, I think him and Cale Makar are there. That's the conversation. And Victor Hedman is number 8 on our list, and he didn't have his best year. That's how good he is. That's how much respect he has around the league, is that even at his not very best, he's still elite. Dealt with an injury a lot this year and fought through it and still won another Stanley Cup and was very effective even with that injury. And you talk about a new age defenseman. Yes, he's huge. He's 6'6". You might not appreciate his size because he's such a gifted skater. Very smooth and fluid. He skates like a much smaller person. But he doesn't hit and run guys over like maybe the guys used to. Physical when he has to be. When there's a puck battle, he gets engaged. But he does so much with his stick because he uses his legs to defend. You think you're by him, you're not, because his reach can go forever, and then his feet will catch you if you think you have an angle. He really does a great job of appreciating what he wants. That's the puck. And he does whatever he has to do to get the puck and then make something happen to it. It's not just about cross-checking the back or run you through the boards. I'll take the puck away. I'll start skating. I'll make a pass. Our forwards will go. And we'll be off to the races. He is, he's as good as there is in the NHL.
Efficient and intelligent. And that's why he won the Conn Smythe when the Bolts won their first Stanley Cup. Conn Smythe winner for the 2nd consecutive championship for the Tampa Bay Lightning. This an easy choice that he ends up in the top 10. The Big Cat is the first goalie since Martin Brodeur, 4 straight years from 02-07, to lead or co-lead the league in victories in 4 consecutive seasons. Marty Brodeur went on to win more games than any other goaltender. And need I remind you what this guy does in elimination games? I like bagels. I like donuts. They have that round thing in the middle, a 0. So does this guy. What a player, Johnny.
Yeah, for a long time there's been a debate. How do we evaluate goaltenders? Who's the best? It's not really much a debate anymore. He's the best. He has separated himself from every other goalie as the cream of the crop, and not just because of what he does in the regular season, and it's not just because he wins a lot, which are not the best metrics to really define greatness as a goaltender. But even though he plays for a good team and wins, you look at the underlying numbers, which I know you like to dig into, and the stuff that separates, okay, why is he good? Goal save above average. 3rd in the NHL. The team doesn't give up that much, so he's asked to save. He saves the ones that maybe he's not even supposed to save. High danger save percentage. Again, that's where the best goalies shine. The other stuff, the medium, the low danger stuff, that's noise. That's just chance. That's luck. High danger is where the best show themselves. And he's right up there again with that number as well. When they ask him to do something difficult, he does. And I don't think he gets enough credit for how good he is asked to be at times for Tampa. Because they have so many great players and they lock it down and they win, the assumption as well, he's just tending the net. It's more than that. He's a big, huge part of the reason why they win, why they're back-to-back champs. And he is unquestionably the best goalie in the league, which is the most important position in our game. So it's no surprise he's in the top 10.
Those numbers in yellow, that's against the best competition with the greatest prize on the line. It says everything you want to know about 88. I liked when you said doesn't get enough credit. Here he is at number 7.
Right.
And couldn't you make the case that perhaps, not to question my colleagues here, that he should be higher?
Well, it's just a question of, like, how do you evaluate goaltenders versus players?
Their value.
But he's the best at the most important position. So you could put him one. And then, like, you could make a very compelling argument that he belongs at number one, because he's going to be the biggest difference maker for any team in their success or their failure, right? If you have a good goaltender, it's 70% of the game. If you have a bad one, it's 100% of the game. And so, he gives his team a chance to win. And so I just think because he's surrounded by so many stars, and he's kind of a quiet guy as far as the media personality, that maybe we don't pay quite as much attention to him as we should. But he is unanimously, I would say, the best goalie in the world.
You have no debate here. And I loved his humility when he took the Conn Smythe. He pointed at his teammates unforgettably, recognizing that it was a team achievement. 75 years since a Leaf led the league in goal scoring. The Rocket Richard winner in 1945-46, the incomparable Gay Stewart. I've heard of Marvin Gaye, but not Gay Stewart.
What's going on?
Nice. Well played from Motown to your town. Over the last 3 seasons, here's who has more goals than Austin Matthews. No one. 125 tallies. When you go first overall and in your first game you hit him with the 4, and then you do what he's done since, you belong in the top 10. This year he happens to be at number 6, Johnny.
And now you're just shuffling greatness. Wherever they fall, and when you're talking about these kind of players, you could say he should be first, second, third, whatever it is. But the hardest thing to do for a forward in the NHL is score goals. And nobody has done it at the rate that Austin Matthews has since he's come to the NHL, like he has. You're talking about the last 25 years, 1 year, he's right there. Oh, yeah, with the Russian rocket, Pavel Bure.
Wow.
He was going to score, 60-something goals at some point. So he just has a knack for scoring goals. Last year was a great one, but it's really been since he's been in the year. At 5-on-5, there is no greater goal scorer in the last 30 years. I mean, in an era where everyone can defend and game plan around him and block shots and goaltenders are great, he still scores at a historical clip. And so that's what he was known for. That's what he does. His shot, and we talked about a lot of the great shots in the league, his shot is as good as anyone has ever had in the history of the NHL. He was a runaway leader last year for the Rocket, and it would not surprise me if he goes on to win many, many more.
I just want to make sure that everyone heard the last 30 years. So era adjustment and all that stuff.
5-on-5, this guy is doing it at a level we have not seen. And it's getting harder to score. It's not getting easier. It's getting harder. And yet here he is coming in to do it. He did it last year with a bum wrist for the second half of the year.
True.
And still ran away with the Rocket. Now, the one thing probably limiting him from being 2 or 3, playoff success. They haven't had that in Toronto, even though his numbers are, more than fine in the playoffs. He hasn't led them on a big, deep run. That's the last thing for him to check off. But as far as greatness, individual greatness, goal-scoring greatness, he's the best in the world right now.
Well said. What an endorsement. So it's Matthews at number 6. Yeah, baby, yeah. Austin Powers